Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, developed by Relic Entertainment and published by THQ, have gone into deep water with this game as it takes on a completely new direction with the reclaimed franchise. Instead of the classic real-time strategy game series that have been released this couple of years, we get to play in a third-person view and experience how it feels to be in the center of the battle as a brutal hero with no mercy, while you're splashing bones, shedding blood and smashing heads, all while being surrounded by hundreds of swarming enemies. This game brings it all out, but will it be enough, or will it forever be forgotten within its own universe? Find out on Next Place Review. The game's plot involves around the forged world Graia, a planet devoted to military production which has been attacked by the alien orcs. The known warlord-class titans, which are genetic robots the size of a skyscraper, will also produce there. Not willing to sacrifice the planet by destroying it completely, 3 super soldiers called Ultramarines are sent out to fight the invasion and save the factory which produces the titans. You play as Captain Titus, the leader of the Ultramarine squad, accompanied by his longtime friend Sergeant Sidonus and a new recruit Leandros. There isn't anything remarkable about the story. If you have no past experience within the Warhammer 40,000 universe, sometimes it can get a bit hard to understand what's going on, but all in all the game's focus doesn't really lie on the story, and it tries to narrow it down to the famous kill the bad guys formula, which happens to be a good move as it keeps the plot in a balanced pace as you fight with a swarm of enemies while trying to complete objectives that are given to you.
You have survived this long on your own, Lieutenant. You have done well, but you are no longer alone. We will retake the gun. You will get your reinforcements.
Gameplay.
The big difference in this game from the previous series is that you play in a third-person view, in a more linear-based gameplay where you move from point A to B, completing objectives, all while being accompanied by your fellow squadmates, although there are some missions where you play alone. The game's point is clearly to make you feel as a powerful, unstoppable marine, in which they succeed. The game uses a very dynamic melee range combat, which makes you able to switch from swinging a chainsaw sword to shooting with a machine gun in an instant. It's a nice change from the generic shooters who revolves around playing carefully by hiding in cover, while here you're encouraged to rush into the battle and start making a mess out of the enemy. To further encourage this kind of playstyle, your way of getting your health back is by either executing enemies or by using a fury system that, when filled up, allows the player to either slow down time for aiming or perform devastating melee attacks, all while the health is regenerating. As the game progresses, you also get upgrades and more powerful weapons. The game also features multiplayer, which comes with the standard team deathmatch, capture the flag, capture and control points, and a co-op where you're supposed to defend yourself from a wave of enemies. It also features classes, leveling system, which unlocks and gives you tools to customize your character with weapons and perks. It isn't the biggest strong point of the game, but it sure keeps your interest for a while after the single player. It's a nice touch to the game.
Presentation.
When it comes to the graphical point of the game, there isn't anything that stands out to the extent that will make your jaw drop, but the game looks good, and especially the character models, which are high poly, and during cutscenes you really start to appreciate the amount of detail and attention they have gotten. One thing that is the downside of the game is that the game gives you a nice feel of sci-fi, but halfway through the game, the level design starts to become repetitive, linear, and you really start to sense the lack of variety. What makes up on the level design is the combat. Combat feels great, and as you start plunging through the enemies with your favorite arsenal of weapons, the animations, effects and sound make out a remarkable experience, which be hard to forget, and hitting that headshot or stomping that orc's head with your enormous boots feels great. When it comes to the audio part, there isn't much to nitpick on. The voice acting is decent, but during gameplay you can get sometimes annoyed by the repetitive dialogue the enemy uses throughout the game, but when it comes to the main character, it's good enough and won't annoy you, and at some point it can even surprise you.
You have saved us. Rise, guardsmen. You saved yourselves. We thought you dead.
We would be, my lord, if not for the lieutenant.
Where will we find this lieutenant?
At the front lines. Follow the trench network to the lieutenant's command bunker.
Carry on, guardsmen. We rendezvous with Sidonus, then we find this lieutenant. We need updated intel on the gun battery.
Verdict.
Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine tries something new, which is working in a good way. The game's final product isn't maybe the best one out there, but it sure holds itself closer to the top, as it doesn't execute all the segments to the fullest, but when they're all put together, you get a nice combination and a feel of quality. All in all, if you're searching for something new from a third-person shooter or are tired from the cover system-based games, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine is a good pick as it gives you something new and will make you feel as a badass while having great fun.